So, hi everyone, and welcome to our Being a Sports Therapy, Exercise Science and Sports Psychology student webinar. Bit of a mouthful there, but we're hoping to kind of show you the kind of day in a life and a little bit about being a student at Chichester on those courses. My name's Laura and I work in outreach at the University of Chichester, and I've got two students with me here today. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
My name's Abby. I'm a third year student studying sports therapy, and my pronouns are she and her.
Perfect.
My name is Jake. I am a fourth year sport and exercise psychology student. My pronouns are he, him.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. So yeah, me, Abby and Jake are just going to go through some questions and give you some more information about some of our sport courses at Chichester. So first of all, some people watching this might be in the phase of kind of deciding what uni to go to, whether to go to uni in general. So I'll ask you first, Jake, what kind of steps did you take before joining university?
So before joining university, I really I wanted to make sure that the university I went to had the specific course I wanted to do. So I used things like the UCAS website and websites of specific unis to see whether they had the course and if the course had the things that I wanted. Because I was very particular about the type of course I wanted to do. So yeah, there was a big research period, but the UCAS website helped a lot to show which unis were offering a certain course. But then delving deeper into that actual university website to look at the modules they did, things like that. And then the other things that I was thinking about, like societies, being able to play sport, things like that. So yeah, I basically made a big checklist and made sure that specific unis had everything that I wanted.
Perfect. Yeah, I think there's a lot to think about, isn't there, when you're kind of in that phase. But it sounds like you did well with kind of listing through what you wanted from the university and then looking into which of those could kind of provide that. So that's fantastic. Abby, I'll come to you next. How did you feel about going to university when you decided you wanted to go?
I was really excited because I'd chosen the degree that I wanted to go into for a career. So I was really excited. A bit nervous though to move out because I hadn't really spent that much time away from home before, only maybe like a week max. So nervous to leave home, but then also excited to start that new journey of like living alone and living with, at first they aren't your friends because you don't know who you're moving in with, but then you make friends and become friends with a lot of people. So yeah, that was a lot of mixture of emotions, but mostly positive.
Fantastic. And we heard from Jake a bit about kind of research and stuff like that. Abby, what would you say your top tip is when kind of deciding on universities?
Similar to Jake, lots of research, compare, make your positives and negatives for unis, and don't look just at the course, look at the area you're going to be in as well, because you're going to have to live there, not just study there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's one bit of advice we'll touch on later as well. So that's perfect. Thank you, guys. So again, we've kind of got some more top tips here. So one of them will be asking questions when you go to see universities. I think it's obviously quite an overwhelming day sometimes. There's a lot to take in. So maybe go with some questions that you have about some things these guys have said, like societies, kind of sports clubs. Maybe write those down beforehand and take them with you so that you remember to ask them. If you think that you might commute to uni, a little test run of the journey is always really helpful, just so that you can see if that journey is going to be achievable. And again, just as Abby said, you're not just studying in the area, you might be living there, or you might want to know what's around. So kind of go and see the local area of that university as well, so that you know the area you're in for those few years you're doing your degree is somewhere that you feel really comfortable. So next, in that same kind of phase of getting started with university, so you've applied, you've got your place, it's sort of September, you're starting your course. Jake, what was your first week at university like?
It was very exciting. I moved in on the Saturday before the Monday that my course started. And then when we got into the week with like Monday going on, it was all about getting to know people, getting to know your lecturers that you'll know for the next 3 years, your course mates. Yeah, it was very much like just getting settled in. Like you definitely spend time with your flatmates and course mates, and it's quite a nice like transition. In the first week is quite chill. You don't have to worry about too much. There are just people around to help you the whole time, and yeah, it's definitely more about just getting to know the uni and the people you'll be around. And obviously there's a lot of like events that get put on. You meet so many people and make so many friends. And yeah, some of my friends that I finished my third year with, I met in my first week of first year. So it's a really fun week.
Fantastic. And it's nice that you're never sort of thrown straight into the deep end with things like that. You've kind of got that time to meet people, do some bits before you start, which is always really nice. Abby, how did you find settling into student life?
I think to not have like high expectations of immediately kind of you have like a totally new life, and don't expect that on the first day or the first week like you're going to be completely settled and it's all be fine, because like Jake mentioned, that first week is all about meeting those new people, your lecturers, and then it's all quite fun, and then you have a whole nother week of then less going out because there isn't freshers events every night. So it takes a while, and then like adjusting to everything. But if you keep in contact with everyone at home, and have so good friends, and you meet friends, and even you can keep in contact with your friends from home, I think that really helped me settle in, was keeping that communication, to not feel like I'd lost everything at home, because I hadn't. Everyone was still there. But yeah, and even then, when throughout the whole semester, at the start, there's no exams, there's no assignments, and then as the exams, the assignments come around, you're then having to readapt again because you've now got a bit more work to do. So it's kind of like that whole first semester in particular is just getting used to your new life, but stick to doing the things that you enjoy and talking to the people that you know from home and locally. I think that really helps with settling in.
Perfect. Brilliant. I'll stick with you for this one, Abby. So what does a typical week look like for you at the moment, with kind of hours of lectures, different days, things like that?
So all 3 years I've had about 12 hours of lectures and practicals throughout the whole week. Most of the time it's split across 2 or 3 days. So I've always had at least 2 days off a week, one of them being a Wednesday, which is really helpful if you are part of society and if you do have matches and fixtures to go to. And then, yeah, always another day, even if it's a half day off. Currently in third year, I was going in twice a week. And then because you have a lot more work to do, like outside of hours. So you think you have a lot of free time, but actually that free time can really be put to like good use doing your work. So yeah, then I have fixtures on Wednesdays, and then I know that some people do also join other teams outside of uni, so then they have things going on at weekends, and I'm doing a placement at the moment, so I'm busy on Tuesday evenings, Thursday evenings, and then also Saturdays. So that's another way that my time is filled at the moment.
So that sounds like quite a nice balance between like academic, getting some sport done, kind of having some time to yourself as well. So that's really nice. Fab. Jake, can I ask you the same question? What does your kind of typical week look like?
Yeah, so very similar to what Abby said, in a few times a week, but the rest of the time is usually, working in the library or at home, things like that, like especially now with it being around the assignment season at the moment. But yeah, again, also like being part of societies is, really helpful to have that kind of work-life balance and do things that you enjoy. So fixtures on a Wednesday, training on a Tuesday night. It's a pretty typical week for a sports student, I guess. But yeah, like 3 or 4 lectures a week, a couple of tutorial sessions, to yeah, get through the assignments month.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you both for that. So a lot of the time we have people coming with concerns, obviously before moving to university. It's quite a big change. There's a lot going on. So it's completely natural if you're in a point of having a few different concerns. Some of the ones we have mostly is about making friends in halls and students looking after their own money. I'll talk about it later, but we've got some really good support at the University of Chichester. So when you come, you're going to be put in with different people from different courses if you're living in halls. So that's a great opportunity to kind of meet lots of different people from different areas. And with things like money, it's a great way to kind of start learning your own way that you like to budget your weeks. But we do have the student money team here for advice on that as well. These guys have touched really nicely on kind of coping with the workload. So lectures aren't every day, all day. Different courses will have different kind of lecture patterns, but sport-wise, it'll be kind of 12 to 14 hours a week in classes, and then you'll go away and do some of your own work as well. Some of that will be theory, some of that will be practical. So there's always a nice kind of workload that won't be too much. And our lecturers here are very supportive as well. Like Jake mentioned, you can book tutorials, which is kind of one-to-ones with lecturers if there's any kind of questions you have or concerns about workload. So I think that's one of those things that's kind of really helpful to know before coming. So for those that do think about moving away from university, commuting is definitely an option as well. And even when commuting, you're still potentially in a brand new area, kind of focusing on making friends. So Jake, I'll come to you first. How did you feel about moving away from home?
I was really excited about it. I was obviously a little bit nervous as well, but I was mainly excited to meet new people and just be in a completely new place. And I had been away from home before, so it wasn't like too bad for me. But yeah, I was mainly really excited just to be in a place that you can call like your own space, and then also be in a flat with new people on different courses. Like you said, like it's one of the best ways to meet people. So yeah, I was excited actually, but also it is a little nerve-wracking, like moving into your new flat and kind of getting dropped off and all that. But yeah, overall, I was excited about it.
Good, glad to hear. And definitely it's natural to have like a mixture of emotions, especially if it's the first time you're moving away from home. But that's nice that you had kind of a different mixture there. I know that you both lived in student accommodation in your first year. So Abby, I'll go to you for the next question. How did you feel about making new friends and meeting new people at university?
Yeah, I was really, really open to talking to anyone. Having gone to a different college, I knew that the only way to make new friends from that experience was to go up to someone and talk to them and not almost wait for the conversation to be started by someone else. But I think it was made so much easier in that first introduction week where you had your lessons for your course, but more introduction lessons, and also I had quite a lot of team building like activities, and then also it being the same week as like what you call freshers week. It was just a really nice way to meet people from your course and then outside, and then you had taster sessions for sports, so there was just so many opportunities to make new friends and to meet people. So it was so easy. It didn't feel like you didn't have to think, oh, I need to go and like talk to someone, I need to go and make a friend, because it would just happen naturally in the day, and then you would see someone, then you'd go out in the evening and then bump into them again, and then that's kind of how you made your friends. So yeah, the university make it really, really easy to do that.
Perfect. I'm really glad to hear that was your kind of experience with that. So that's really nice. I think one thing with Chichester being a kind of smaller campus than other universities, you do see a lot of people from different courses that you kind of remain friends with, which is really nice. So you get to speak to lots of different people around the university. Like you say, you kind of bump into someone that you've spoken to before, that can start a conversation. We even give out tips such as when you bring in all of your stuff to uni, if you are moving in, to bring a doorstop just to keep your door open. So if you don't feel confident enough to go and talk to new people, maybe there'll be people around, they'll see your door open, come in for a chat. So yeah, there's countless ways that you can kind of make friends at university, and you can get involved with as much or as little as you'd like. So that's always nice to keep in mind. So, coping with exams and essays, there's probably a lot of people looking into university and starting to think about kind of which ways they cope with assessments best and what they're like at university. So, Jake, would you be able to tell me what types of assessment do you have on your course?
Yeah, we have quite a mixture on my course because sports psychology is quite a theoretically based subject. Of course, we have essays and exams. We also have lab reports that we write, and things like project proposals and presentations are a big one as well. But they're very much keen to not just, be like, write an essay on this, here's an exam on this. Like, they want to make it as like broad and round as possible to assess you. So we have things like group tasks and projects, and yeah, there's a whole load of way that they assess you, because they know that not everybody does well under a pressurized exam environment. So they want to give everybody the same opportunities to do well, and they'll help you out with that as much as possible. So yeah, I think it's the same in most courses, that they're not just going to be, giving you a whole load of exams. There is a wider range of how they assess you, so that it's fair for everyone, I guess.
Brilliant. And Abby, how about you? Is your course kind of similar, different?
Mine's very similar to Jake in the diversity of the exams. I have a lot more practical exams, being sports therapy being a very hands-on course. All of our sports therapy modules are mostly practical, which is usually 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And then whilst you're doing the task, they will then ask you questions based on the theory that you've learned throughout. And then sometimes paired with that, there might be a written one, so like short answer questions. But yeah, same as Jake, I've had a few lab reports, essays, vivas, so a short like speaking exam. Yeah, but mostly practical.
Perfect. And roughly how many kind of assessments do you have each year?
So we do 4 modules, so 4 modules each semester. So there's usually an exam at least that comes with each of those modules, or an assignment. So per semester, I'd probably say between like 4 to 8, depending on if you've had an earlier assignment due in the year, because for some modules you'll have one halfway through the semester and then one at the end. But it's usually 2 per module that I've had.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think that's very similar with a lot of courses where you'll have sort of 4 modules and then maybe 2 assessments in each module. And then it just depends on how long those modules run for, really. Thank you for that. So Jake, I'll come back to you. How do you tend to prepare for your different assessments?
I think everybody prepares slightly differently. I definitely, do a lot of planning as like early as I can. I don't like leaving things to the day before it's due. But the best thing to do is like to use the lecturers that are there for you with like tutorials and things like that. Because we have a smaller uni, like you can email your lecturers and say, I have a question, or can we have a tutorial? And they'll come back to you and they'll say, yeah, come and see me on this day, this time, or something like that. And it really is the best way to like get the best out of your lecturers, because they are there for you. which is probably different to like some bigger unis where, you know, you'll be in a lecture hall with 100 odd people and the lecturer won't know you're there. The lecturers here know you so well because the class sizes are smaller. So yeah, the biggest way that I prepare for them and write assignments and stuff is getting help from the lecturers in tutorials, because they know what they're talking about and they're the ones that are marking it. So
yeah, that's an excellent point. I think if they're the ones that are marking it and they're there to give you advice and they have the time to talk to you about it, I think it's often easy to forget that that's an option. Even if you feel really confident on an assignment, there's no reason to not go and see one of your lecturers and just go and have a little look through it together, things like that. Perfect. So, stemming on from what you just said, Jake, about kind of support from lecturers, we've got plenty of support at the University of Chichester. On screen is some of the more specific things that we have. And when you're looking for different universities, this is something really important to cover. So it's always that the university should be kind of shouting what support they can offer you, and look for those sorts of things as well, because it's really important that you're in the right course, you're in the right place, but you want to be supported really well whilst you're there too. So, for example, some of the support that we have at Chichester is support with health, support with money. We've got lots of mental health support, things like counselling, physical health as well. We have nurses on campus. We do have the chaplaincy. We have lots of multi-faith prayer rooms across campus. Even things like academic skills that you might want to brush up on. So if you think your essay writing, for example, could do with a bit of help, there's support on that. We have a disability and dyslexia service. So if there's any specific requirements you might need related to a disability, or if you struggle with kind of dyslexia and essays, there's all the support there for you as well. But do head to our website, chi.ac.uk, and there'll be plenty more information on those specifically as well. So we're kind of coming to the end of the webinar. So I'll come to you both for this question. Maybe we'll go for Abby first. What would you say to someone considering studying a kind of sports science course, whether that's sports therapy, sports psychology? What would your kind of main takeaway be to give to them?
Specifically, like related to the course, I think obviously with myself being on sports therapy and it's being quite a specific course for a career, I think make sure it's something that you do want to do, because I think with all sports courses you do have to put in a lot of work outside of the lessons, and if you're not going to enjoy it, you're not going to want to put in the work. So really thoroughly look into the course, specifically the modules. That helped me when I was comparing. Chichester did it very differently to some of the other unis, and broke it down. So look a lot into the course, because they vary slightly, and that will really help you to enjoy your time there. And yeah, just don't be afraid to ask questions. Anyone, like before you come to uni and whilst you're at uni, just ask lots of questions, and there's always someone that will direct you and like point you in the right direction.
Amazing, thank you. And Jake, kind of same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, Abby said it really well. Just, you know, do enough research before that you know you want to do it and you can get ready for it, and yeah, ask questions and just get excited. Really, it's, you know, studying sport is a lot of fun. It is a lot of work as well, but you know, if it's something that you really enjoy, then you'll enjoy it whilst you do it, and then you'll have a great time at uni. So yeah, exactly that. Just make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, and then enjoy it, really.
Amazing, perfect. Thank you so much to both of you for that. I'm sure that will provide a lot of really good information to anyone kind of looking to study at university. So we've kind of done a nice little summary there, so I'll leave that one for now. But if anyone watching has any questions at all, feel free to get in contact. So my team is the outreach team, and you can contact us on outreach@chi.ac.uk. And we also have the email studyhere@chi.ac.uk for any questions relating to studying at Chichester, open days, or anything like that. So thank you both so much, and I hope anyone watching enjoyed this webinar.